graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
New year, new episode of Bootleg Shit. So without further ado, Kamehame, hit that motherfucking intro. If you didn't get that subtle hint earlier, that was based on a quote from a very iconic anime and manga. Why? Well, in celebration of the newly released Dragon Ball FighterZ, I decided to take a look at all the bootleg games based on the popular and long-running anime and manga franchise, Dragon Ball. There are a grand total of 6 in this episode. 3 for the Famicom, 1 for the Super Famicom, 1 for the Mega Drive, and 1 for the Game Boy Color. So, how are they? Well, let's find out. So the first one we're going to take a look at is Dragon Ball Z Super Butouden 2 for the Famicom. Developed by Hummer Team and published by JY Company, it's a bootleg of the Super Famicom game of the same name. The title screen is almost identical to the original Super Famicom game, which is great. Matter of fact, I think they got it down to a T. Of course, you don't see Gohan flying in the beginning due to Famicom and NES limitations, but it's still very impressive. The original Super Famicom version had a story mode. However, in this version, that mode is completely gone. So you only get versus 2-player versus the computer and computer versus computer. The last one is just the difficulty setting. I recommend setting it to 2 because the AI can be really cheap at times. Anyway, the roster is pretty much on par with the original Super Famicom game. The only characters missing are Broly and Bojack. Also, unlike the original, Goku is a playable character. Now that we got all that out of the way, let's get on with the gameplay. Honestly, this game is not bad. It's not good either, but it's still not bad. What you're getting here is just a dumbed down version of the original Super Famicom game, and that is to be expected since the NES and the Famicom are much less powerful and the controller has less buttons. In the original version, you could fly and do various special moves. You also had Ki, which you could raise by either charging or fighting back. Here, Ki is completely gone, and you don't have much attacks to do. In fact, you're limited to just about 1 or 2 depending on the character you play as. For example, Goku, Gohan, and Cell have the Kamehameha, Piccolo has the explosive Demon Wave, and Vegeta has the Final Flash. In the original, you could do moves like Masenko, Special Beam Cannon, and Gallic Gun. Also, you can't fly in this game. You can dash, but that's it. So it doesn't really feel like a Dragon Ball Z game, but rather a generic fighting game. The frame rate is on par with all the other bootleg Famicom and NES fighting games. Now with all that being said, the game is at least playable. Controls are 100% responsive, so nothing to complain about here. And considering the fact that the NES and Famicom controllers have very few buttons, it's surprising to see how easy it is to pull off special moves in a bootleg. So anyway, once you beat the game, the ending is just a picture of Goku smiling in the sky like he's crazy or something, along with Vegeta, Piccolo, Gohan, and future Trunks. The graphics are fine, everything here resembles the original Super Famicom version of Super Butouden 2, only in 8-bit, so I really can't complain here. And music is what you'd expect from a bootleg Famicom game. All in all, not a terrible game, but not a great game either. Now there's another version of this game titled Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden 3. However, this version is only available on a multi-card titled Super 24 in 1. It's game number 4, so you don't have to worry about scrolling all the way down. And as you can see, it's exactly the same as Super Butoden 2, but there are some differences. First off, the menu screen has Goku smiling at you, which is obviously taken from the ending screen. God, could you stop smiling already? It's fucking annoying! The roster is exactly the same. Not too much to talk about here. World Cup? Why are they fighting at a beach where a sports tournament is supposed to take place? Or Moscow? None of these even remotely resemble Dragon Ball Z stages. Like, what's going on here? Wait. Is that Contra Force? Yeah! They blatantly stole this stage from Contra fucking Force! What a bunch of thieves! Oh my god! In fact, all of these backgrounds are stolen from other NES games. Super Spike V-Ball and Ninja Gaiden 3 are some examples. The only Dragon Ball stage in this version is the Tenkaichi Budokai stage, which is shown twice. Man, fuck this game, and fuck JY Company and the Hummer team for being a bunch of thieves. Fuck you! Next up is Dragon Ball Z 5 for the Famicom, developed by Rexsoft and published by Supertone Electronics. Oh, we start off with a cutscene of a Saiyan spaceship crash landing. This is a good start so far. For a bootleg, this actually resembles a real NES and Famicom game. It looks like one of the official Dragon Ball games released on the Famicom. And of course you see Raditz invading and is about to attack everybody. And you see on space, you see more Saiyan ships flying and crash landing. I assume that's Nappa and Vegeta. Yep, I was right, it's Vegeta and Nappa. This game is supposed to be based on the Saiyan saga so far, although I am assuming there's more sagas in this game. So anyway, this is very impressive so far, I gotta admit, for a bootleg. Anyway, this is Dragon Ball Z 5. So you start off with 3 characters to choose from: Goku, Piccolo, and Krillin. Okay, but seriously, who the fuck wants to play as Krillin? Well anyway, I'll start off with Goku since he's the strongest of the bunch. Oh my god. Wow. This game went downhill so fast. These controls are by far the worst! Not just in a Dragon Ball Z game, but any, and I mean any, beat 'em up. Like, holy goddamn shit! The controls here are fucking handicapped! And you move too fucking slow in this game! And then there's a 2-second delay when you stop holding left or right, and jumping is stiff as fuck too! How do you fuck up the controls this badly? And this is a Dragon Ball Z game on top of that! When you think of Dragon Ball Z, what do you think? You think of fast-paced, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, fighting, punching, kicking, all that good shit, right? Right? I mean, as mediocre as Super Butouden 2 and 3 were, at least they tried to be like Dragon Ball Z games. This does not come close at all. This game is an absolute chore to play. It's a slow-ass beat-em-up that makes you wish it was over. So you're fighting a bunch of minions, and I think they're supposed to be Frieza's henchmen, even though this level is supposed to be based on the Saiyan saga? Well anyway, you then come across this soldier who wants to shoot you. Oh come on Goku, you're the strongest fighter in the universe and you get knocked down by a fucking bullet? Weak piece of shit. Goku can do the Kamehameha, but it's really random here, not surprising at all. And this soldier guy, for whatever reason, takes fucking forever to die. Come on, hurry up already! Fucking die! Every time I punch him, he gets pushed to the corner. And he takes forever to come back. Good god, hurry up! Are you like invincible or something? Oh my god, this is such a chore to play. Finally! Thank god! So after you defeat the soldier, you fight more of Frieza's henchmen and you encounter the first boss, Raditz. When fighting Raditz, you're gonna waste a lot of lives, as well as some continues. And it's all thanks to this game's horrendous controls. So you're supposed to beat Raditz in this game? Isn't Goku supposed to die at this part? And isn't Piccolo supposed to fight alongside them? Nah, you know what, too many questions for a bootleg Famicom game. Anyway, after beating Raditz, there's more boring fights against Frieza's henchmen, and then you meet up with Nappa, who isn't really a boss, but he is pretty tough. And I'm saying this because you already know how borderline unplayable this game is. And finally, you meet up with Vegeta. And for some reason, he has the Saiyan armor from the Frieza saga, but whatever. Like Raditz before him, he will kick your ass. And you will lose even more lives and continues. Think you can pull off the Kamehameha? Good luck with that. So after defeating Vegeta, you get a nice cutscene of the end of the Saiyan Saga, and you move on to the next level, the Frieza Saga. Now you have 4 characters to choose from. You can now play as Vegeta. So I'm gonna pick Vegeta. Wow, Vegeta's actually somewhat faster here. And you have a higher chance of doing special attacks, though it's not always responsive. I'm assuming that's his Gallic gun? Wait, who the hell are these people I'm fighting? They look like purple MC Hammers or something. This game gets weirder every time! So after you defeat the purple MC Hammers and some random blue guy, you fight the same enemies you fought on Earth. And after what feels like fucking forever, you finally meet the first boss of this stage, Zarbon. Since this game is broken and since I lost most of my lives and continues earlier, I had no chance against this guy, so I died. Fuck this game! The graphics are shit, minus the cutscenes, the frame rate is shit, the music is shit, and finally, worst controls ever! And that 5 on Dragon Ball Z 5, that's actually an S, and it stands for shit! Next up is Dragon Ball Z Final Bout, a bootleg based on the PlayStation game of the same name, though it's actually Dragon Ball Final Bout, or Dragon Ball GT Final Bout if you live in the US. Now this one is actually on 3 different platforms, Super Famicom, Sega Mega Drive, and Game Boy Color. Sadly, the developer and publisher of this game is unknown, but it is said to be possibly published by DVS Electronic Co. Oh god, oh no, oh no. Please don't tell me that's what I think it is. No. They blatantly stole music from fucking Street Fighter! How low do you have to go to make a bootleg Dragon Ball game and steal music from fucking Street Fighter? And that's not the worst part, people. The music is distorted as fuck! It's like when you're playing Street Fighter while drunk! Why? 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 Why do these bootleg Dragon Ball games get progressively worse? I just hope it plays well, but I highly doubt that. Nope, it plays bad too. My fucking god, why? The frame rate is atrocious. It's even worse than the last one I played on the Famicom. Controls are very stiff as well, and the hit detection barely works. Though I think these two are caused by the woefully bad frame rate. Either way, this game is borderline unplayable, and as you can see, I lost. The only way to beat this game is by playing on easy with only 1 round. Otherwise, may God have mercy on your soul when you torture yourself playing this awful game. Well anyway, you have 6 characters to choose from. Going clockwise, you have Goku, Kid Goku, GT Trunks, Piccolo, Cell, Majin Buu, Vegeta, and Gohan. But when you play as them, their names are all messed up. You get names like Bethida, Boo, Tolangs? What? I mean, forget Kinbeely, that's so 2017. 2018 is all about Bethida, Boo, and Tolangs. Well, at least Goku and Gohan have their names spelled correctly. But when you play as Kid Goku, it says S Goku. I know it's supposed to mean Son Goku, like his original Japanese name, but he's always been called Son Goku, even as an adult. So this makes absolutely no sense. Unless the S means small? Anyway, the modes in this game are 2-player, 1-on-1 against the computer, and tournament. And that's it. But that doesn't matter since everything about this game is absolutely terrible. The only positive thing I can say about this game is that the graphics are good. It's on par with the original Dragon Ball Z games on the Super Famicom. Unfortunately, a game that looks good doesn't always play good. And listen to this! Vegeta has Guile's theme! Forget go home and be a family man! Go home and be a family prince! A Saiyan prince! Hashtag Vegeta's theme goes with everything. Although Cell has Guile's theme as well, so hashtag Cell's theme goes with everything? I actually think that phrase sounds better since Cell and Guile are both one syllable. But at the same time, go home and be a family prince is an epic quote. So after you beat this game, you get a slow scrolling text of the word fin in outer space. After all that bullshit, that's all you get. What a piece of shit game. But how's the Mega Drive version? Well, at least this version has its own music, or at least doesn't rip off music from a well-known fighting game franchise. Although the announcer voices in this game are stolen from other fighters like Virtua Fighter. Also, this version uses the correct name, Dragon Ball Final Bout. But how's the gameplay? This one actually plays a lot better than the Super Famicom version, although it's still not a great game. And frame rate is now at a smooth 60 frames per second, as it should be. Most 2D games at the time were 60 frames per second. Controls still feel stiff, but not quite as stiff as the Super Famicom version. Hit detection has improved as well. Other than those improvements, the game is exactly the same as the Super Famicom version. From the modes, to the characters, to the graphics, to everything. Even the messed up names are still intact. Long live Bethita, Boo-Woo, and Tolanx. All in all, an okay game and a huge improvement over the terrible Super Famicom game. And as the old saying goes, Genesis does what Nintendo don't. Sadly, I cannot find the Game Boy Color version. I've looked on eBay and various other stores, but I can't seem to find it. According to the Bootleg Games Wiki, the cartridge is extremely rare and is currently unavailable in ROM form. So if any of you watching know where I can get it, please let me know. Speaking of Game Boy Color, that's the next and final Dragon Ball bootleg we're covering in this episode. This one is called Dragon Ball Z Fighting 2005. Okay, so we get a nice slideshow of Dragon Ball Z pictures. Not a bad start, though the music sounds familiar. This is an original song, nothing you have heard before. I don't know what you're talking about. It sounds nothing like his theme. Yes, people, it's another Dragon Ball bootleg that blatantly steals music from another game. This time, it's Mega Man Extreme. Although I have to give some credit. At least the music here isn't butchered like what Final Bout on the Super Famicom did. Well, anyway, you get a good roster of characters to choose from. You have Majin Vegeta, Piccolo, Goku, Cell, Frieza, Future Trunks, Gohan, Majin Buu, Kid Buu, Gotenks, and regular Vegeta. And for some strange reason, Goku, Piccolo, Cell, and Gohan have duplicates. Of course, you all know this isn't the first bootleg to have duplicates. And it's another terrible Dragon Ball Z bootleg. Controls here are barely responsive. It takes like 1 or 2 seconds for your character to do something after you press a button. The frame rate is bad, but not quite as bad as Final Bout on the Super Famicom. And if you think you can pull off moves and special attacks, ha! Good luck with that! Especially given how limited the buttons on the Game Boy Color are. But on the bright side, at least you can save and continue where you left off. If only you could select a different character while doing that though. And once again, we get funny misspelled versions of their names. Instead of Bethita, we get Bezita. But Boo and Tolanx are back. And along with those, we get Fuliza, Zeru, and more. I really like the chibi style character design in this game. Reminds me of Mighty Final Fight on the NES. Also, is that the McDonald's logo on the back? Anyway, this game is trash. Boy, thank God we got that over with. And now for the final verdict. Since this episode covered multiple games by multiple developers and publishers, we're gonna go one by one. Let's start off with J. White Company and Hummer Team. Dragon Ball Z Super Butouden 2 wasn't too bad. In fact, I did enjoy it quite a bit. However, with Super Butouden 3, you got really lazy and just took the exact same game and replaced backgrounds with backgrounds stolen from other NES and Famicom games. So the jury has found J. White Company and Hummer Team guilty again for that reason. Now let's move on to Rexsoft and Supertone Electronics. You guys made the worst beat 'em up on the NES and Famicom, hands down. That game was borderline unplayable. And to top it all off, the beginning was very promising with a very nice cutscene. You fooled me. You fucking fooled me. So the jury has found you guilty. Next up, whoever made Dragon Ball Final Bout on the Super Famicom and Mega Drive. While the Mega Drive version wasn't too bad, the Super Famicom version was god fucking awful. On top of that, you stole and bastardized music from Street Fighter 2. So the jury has found you guilty as charged. And finally, the developers of Dragon Ball Z Fighting 2005 for the Game Boy Color. I wish somebody knew who the developer was. But I will say this. You're no better than the other bootleg Dragon Ball developers. Your game is just as much of a turd as the rest. And like Final Bout on the Super Famicom, you stole music from a popular video game series. So with that said, the jury has found you guilty. In fact, you're all guilty! You all fucking suck! And you all deserve to die! Majin Buu, now's the time. Finish them! If you like my content and want to support me, you can donate to my Patreon for just $1 a month. Go to patreon.com/Allie-RX. If you prefer a one-time donation, you can donate to my PayPal at paypal.me/Allie-RX. There, you can donate any amount, even a penny. Links are in the description.